What is up, guys? Good morning, or good afternoon, actually. I am the Vintage Things Network. Today's episode is Vintage Things. I am going to be sharing with you some of my vintage collector's items. They are from many different not age groups, but they're from different times from the 1980s and early 70s to the early 2000s and now. And the first item I'm going to start with is my rotary dial telephone here. It's a Western Electric Bell System telephone. It's actually old school, and it's got the rotary dial on there. It's actually pretty cool. Unfortunately, one of the receiver caps is broken, and the speaker is a little bit softer. And if you look here in the back, the landline jack is actually not working because the jack is cracked as well. I only know a little bit about this phone. It was from the late 70s, early 80s, and it was property of New York Telephone Company, and it says not for sale. That's actually the pretty cool thing right there. I got this on eBay. I forget who the seller was, but it was only $8, and it came from Orlando, so it was actually a pretty cool find. So yeah, that's the beige telephone, yellow Western Electric Classic Edition telephone from the early 70s, late 70s, early 80s. Next I have here, this looks just like a duck, but it is a telephone. It's a Ducks Unlimited Mallard duck phone. I don't know when this was produced, but it kind of reminds me of Jersey Shore a little bit because in their show, they had a duck telephone similar to this. See, you've got your numbers, your speed dial. I'm pretty sure it had touch tone capability, but it's actually manufactured by Ducks Unlimited. And that's pretty much it for this one. This is actually a nice piece to have in home that if you live in the outdoors or you like the outdoors, this actually makes a pretty cool collector's item. I got it for $14 at the Restore in Jensen Beach here in Florida. It was $14 after getting a discounted coupon for spinning the wheel. So yeah, that's the duck phone from Ducks Unlimited. So what else is here today? Okay. Next on my vintage collector's list, a customer at my Publix. See, I work at Publix in Stuart. We're not allowed to take tips from customers. So a customer asked me if I like phones. So I said yes. And he gave me this. It's a 1970 Western Electric part of the Southern Bell Telephone Co. This is a vintage phone from as far as I know. See there, you got your numbers, you can call. That's the receiver button to hang up. Unfortunately, I don't think it works. I really don't know yet because I can't actually test it. But this phone was either from the 70s or the 80s. Yeah, so that's what it looks like on the back right there. I'm also big on other phones, which we'll get into later in the video. So here, I've got a Trimline telephone. I don't know which phone company this was belonged to, but it's property of New English Telephone Company, not for sale. And it's got, it's a Bell System property. Okay. So that's that phone. And for this, there's really not much to it. I mean, it's just your standard push button telephone. It's not a wall phone either. It's like one of those you just have it sitting on a desk, you answer it. Hello, this is the Macmillan residence or something like that. I mean, these phones were big back in the time. Back in the day, you used to have to rent phones. They weren't for sale, so you couldn't actually keep these. But as much as I know, this is a Trimline telephone from Southern Bell Company. This is a nice piece to my collection. Oh, yes. I also have this Princess telephone here. This one is unfortunately a reproduction, so it's not legit, but it's got speed dial and it's got just push button touchstone technology, but it's made with the vintage look to make it look like it's old. This phone is a TT Systems Corporation phone, and it doesn't say when it was manufactured, but so yeah, that's that. This is a collector's piece, or a reproduction, I should say, that I collected at a Goodwill in Jensen Beach, as well as the other phone from the Restore. So yeah, this is the Princess telephone, one of my other collector's items. Now, before we get into other things, I thought I'd talk to you guys about this bad boy right here. This is a it's between the 70s and 80s, I'm pretty sure. It's a TV radio clock, actually, from Thomas Edison. So the numbers, they don't work exactly. But this is a flip time clock. So whenever the time was going to change, it would just go like this. Like that. And here, if you look at it, you can tune into TV, and it's also got UHF and VHF television tunings, as well as FM radio. This clock was actually one of the rarest finds I've ever came across. I found this in a Goodwill too. I don't remember how much I paid for it, unfortunately. I want to say I paid $13.99. But that's it. General Electric telephones, General Electric alarm clocks. These things were big back in the day. Notice here how it's got the TV hookups right there. And it's also got the manufacturer info. This was made in the USA, I think. It should say made in the USA. Made in Singapore. So yeah. This was definitely something hard to find, so I actually got lucky with that, actually. So then there's the buttons on the side. Then there's that, and apparently the current time on here is 12:50 in the morning. So this was a good piece. Unfortunately, it doesn't work for the most part. It does for the radio and for the TV sort of portion, but it does not work due to the motor being burnt out in the clock. So, yeah, this is my 1970s / late 70s, early 80s alarm clock, flip time. Next, I have here a Polaroid Sun 600 light management system camera. I forget when this came out, but I got this for $5.99, actually $3.99. So here's where your focus would be, how much light or how much darkness you'd like on the photo. Then you've got the film door. There is no film in here, but it shows what film it takes and all sorts of things. So yeah, you take the picture like this, and then the picture would come out of here. And this is a nice little piece to my collection. And then they fold, and they're easy to store. They're kind of just like this. So yeah, this is my Polaroid camera collection, and that's the Sun 600. So now we're going to get into the good stuff, probably the stuff you've all been waiting for. So let me just make sure everything is good and ready to go. And I have to make sure everything is here and ready for me in front of me. Okay, guys, I will be right back after this message. Yep, excuse me for one moment, guys. Sorry for the interruption. I'll be right back after this. Okay, guys, we're back. Sorry for that small interruption. Turns out what I was looking for was right behind me. Okay, so we're gonna start off with the first item. So here I have something that really revolutionized the cell phone era. Back in 1997, very famous company called Nokia Telephone Company. They actually decided they were going to release a new telephone, and I happen to have one of them right here. So here is the Nokia 5185i, and it's actually got an antenna. So look at this. This is really cool. And not to add that it actually works. And after 15 years of having a phone, it's got service. And I'm very shocked about this because these phones, the network they were on was shut down, but for some reason Verizon forgot to turn this phone off. So this phone has got roaming data, folks. Roaming data right here. And the one thing that these phones were good for was this, and I'm really going to try my hardest to do this here, but bear with me, guys. Playing this game for you while doing a live is not going to be very easy, so we are going to try it. And we are going to lower the level down for this one. Okay. See, there's Snake right there. So, yeah. So basically, this game was not so easy, but the highest score on here is 567. So yeah, you guys kind of get the idea, but this phone was actually physically indestructible. You drop one of these, they don't break. That's the thing, that's the reason why these phones were good back in the day. Nowadays, if you drop an iPhone, you're just gonna have a shattered screen. But the one thing that made this phone famous was not just the antenna, but was this right here. That ringtone right here. This really actually brings me back to the time I was born. But these phones were really cool, and I actually like to collect these. Here, I'm just going to sample some of the ringtones. Go for a couple more. So yeah, these phones didn't have much features-wise, but they were definitely much better and made better than the phones today. Now, one thing I'm going to share with you guys here is this is what the battery pack looked like. It came in a small little thing like this. It's kind of small. It looks like a candy bar. That's why these were called candy bar phones back in the day. Apparently, this phone company is USA One Rate. And that's the original phone number, by the way. I wouldn't call it, though. You don't know who could be owned now. But this is the Nokia 5185. I'm pretty sure this phone was on a GSM network, and I'm actually surprised that this phone still works. So now after that's all said and done, the cool thing about these is that when you got the phone, if you didn't like the factory made faceplate, what you could do is, it's just as simple. You push down on the top here, and the faceplate comes out. So you could change these if you wanted to, and put in one that you want. See, this is Lightning Strike Violet, I think. Yeah, so then, funny thing I noticed about in these Nokias that's distinctive is that, well, there's a smiley face right there. And I don't know why that is the way it is, but I think they did that purposely. And that's what makes Nokia Nokia, apparently. So back to the other thing I was just about to say about the Nokias is that, see this one? It says made in Korea. Okay, that's not a legit Nokia phone. The Nokias that were legitimate were made in the USA. Now I could be wrong. This is a well-made product because it works well, but you know, it's different. And it's a very, very interesting collection I have here. Now, I'm going to do another different phone. This is the Siemens S4 model. Unfortunately, due to the charger size and power capability, I do not have this charger, nor does this phone work, but it does say AT&T. And this is a pretty neat looking phone. Now, there's the battery and everything you need to have the phone work. There's all of its info and stuff like that. Yeah, so that's pretty much it for this one. Next I have up is the Nokia 3390B. The numbers are a little bit faded on this phone. I don't know why that is, but that's what happened when I got it in the mail. There's that phone's stuff right there. There's an AT&T SIM card in it. And the battery does come out. Yeah, this is a Nokia 3390B NPB1RB. This one was also made in Korea, as you can see here. These phones are inactively out of service. This one at least doesn't work, so I was going to try and use it, but when I was going to charge it, it said not charging. So, yeah, this is my blue Nokia 3390B candy bar telephone. My next phone on the list is the Nokia 918. This one did work for a short period of time after I got it. And it's got a few different features, but the ringtone selection on here isn't very good. But the reason this phone doesn't work is because it's got a bad battery. That would have been a button to power it on, but I don't think it works. We can try it, but I don't think we're going to get anywhere. Nope. Okay. So there's your send button, the call button. You can actually send messages on here, but it's not very good. Now, let's see here. Nokia nickel calcium battery. These batteries are not very expensive, but it just depends on what you get. And this is the Nokia 918 Plus. Now, this one was also made in Korea, but this is a vintage Nokia product, which is the only thing that matters. That's where you would charge your phone via the cradle or the adapter. So yeah, that's the Nokia 918 with the antenna, of course. So that's those. My next phone is going to be the Nokia 5120i. Now, this one came with a clear faceplate, so you can actually see through it and see everything. Now, if you look, this one does not have a battery because it was missing. But this one was made in the USA, though. Yep, see? If you look closely, This one was made in the USA. Now that's a better made phone right there. I didn't even think Nokia made those in the US, but that one does not work. But whoever owned it, because I did test it with another battery, it says "Hi Jim" when the phone comes on. So Jim, whoever that is, must have owned this Nokia before me. And any of these items I've gotten mostly primarily came from eBay, but I also have this. This is a Cricket wireless Nokia phone. Should work. Yes, it does. Cricket. And this one does not have service either, I don't think. It says, oh, I thought I found a signal. It says searching for service. So I got to go into the settings and change it to look for service. So let me see what happens. It's going to say searching for service. We got a signal, guys. Whoa. It's got service. Wow. It actually has service. It's still searching for a signal, but it's there. That's so cool. Let me see where this one was made. This one's also got the distinctive antenna, but it's actually really cool. This is the all right, come on. This phone is acting up. Got it. This one was made in Mexico now. This is the 5170i. So this phone was used there. Now, the reason this phone doesn't work is because the network on this phone was shut off. Or at least the service was. I don't know. But it's got the antenna. This is the 5170i. It's searching for service. It still says it's searching for a signal. So I'm going to update it to the automatic system. And some bars are going to come up. I'm going to call a number and see what happens. It says wait for service, as it would when you don't have none. So this is going to be an interesting ride, okay? So yeah, this is it. You can't make phone calls on these unless you pay for the service. So these phones cost a pretty penny to service, I think. I don't know exactly. But it's showing that there's bars here. So if I lower the antenna, see, it'll still say searching for service there. But there's two bars. So if I raise the antenna, what is that going to do? See, these phones are relatively new, as in terms of it being like, I don't know, I'd have to say this phone was probably 2000, maybe 2002. But I really don't know. I'm going to try and call a number and see what it does. It still says searching for service, so I'm going to leave that one on, and we're going to move on to the next Nokia. Now, this is the Nokia 5160i. This one was actually made in the USA as well. Yeah, so this is a butterfly design faceplate. This was custom. Notice how it doesn't say Nokia. So it's probably not a genuine Nokia accessory, but it is still a pretty nice color for this phone. So yeah. Like I said before, these faceplates can come off, and they can be interchanged between different ones. Next, this is actually what started the collection in the first place. Was the first Nokia I ever collected, and the battery's low on it, but it is an AT&T GSM phone. That's the phone number that came with it. So yeah, this one was made in where? This one was made in Mexico. If it's made in Mexico, it's good. If it's made in the US, it's great. And if it's made in Korea, it's okay. I mean, these phones were very dependable as long as I've been around. See, like this one was made in the USA. I got this from a seller in Maine, actually, and whoever owned it, her name must have been Connie, because as you see, when you turn it on, it says Connie's phone. So I don't know who Connie is, per se, but these are my Nokias. So I'm just going to hold them up once more. 5160i. 5170i with the antenna. 5120i. 918. Oh wait, I haven't gotten to that one yet. Sorry guys. 5185i with antenna and lightning strike faceplate. And the Nokia 5165. Or 60, my bad. And the Nokia 3390B candy bar telephone. So our last two phones in this video. First, I'm going to start off with the Nextel Motorola i836 telephone. This phone was my dad's phone, which he was generous enough to give me for my collection. So yeah, it's still searching for service. See, the one thing I liked about these phones is this and this. You know what that is? That's push to talk. You push this button next to a contact you'd want to go to, and see that speaker right there? This was a walkie-talkie phone. Some of the ringtones on here we're gonna go through. Let me just turn them up a little bit so you guys can hear it. Okay. And the phone actually changed colors when you played a ringtone. That type of thing. So yeah, you kind of get the idea. So yeah, that's the Nokia the Nextel Motorola i36. And I actually made a small mistake. We actually have two more phones after this. Here is the Nextel i50SX. Now, this phone does not work anymore either, and the antenna is actually kind of cracked there. This phone's actually in good working order. I just need to get a charger that fits for it. So back there, that's the battery. And then there is the info on the phone. This one was made in Mexico, I think. It should say. This was on the iDen network. Oh, it says Canada, but it was made in Malaysia. See, I've never seen a phone that was made in another place like that before. But that's where the battery goes. The SIM card's under it. So yeah, standard. This is also push to talk as well, walkie-talkie. And our final phone and our last item in this video is the Nextel i205. This isn't like the best phone in my collection, but it's something I'm very enjoyable. I really like to collect this stuff. Same thing with this battery. This one's actually got a SIM card in it. This one was also made in Malaysia, as you can see here. And that's where the battery would go, right in this slot right there. So yeah, this is pretty much all my vintage collection stuff. I wouldn't say vintage, but it's old, and I enjoy collecting this stuff. So one more time, I'm going to go through everything, and I'm going to double check in here, make sure I didn't forget to show anything. Actually, real quick, this is the box that the Nokia 918 came in. So that's its housing unit for the box. I also, oh no, hold on, guys. There's still 3 more phones. I'm so sorry. We have the Motorola. I don't know what kind it is. It kind of looks like a Motorola Razr. I mean, it works, I think. Let me turn it on. Okay, this one does not work. But anyways, I'll share it with you anyway from what I can do. This phone was actually, oh, it's even got the battery in it and everything. All right, and a SIM card slot. That's a weird looking SIM card slot. I don't know what that is. Oh, is that a USB holder? Pretty sure. Oh, yeah. So anyway, back to the whole phone gig. I'm going to try and get this battery out, guys. Yep. Okay, this is made in Singapore. It says Motorola. Now, it doesn't say what model it is exactly, but if I had to just take a wild guess, it probably is a Motorola Razr. But you guys can correct me in the comments below. I don't know much about this phone, but it is a Verizon wireless phone. And they also claim to be the best network in America, which is true, actually. I've had some of my friends have them before. Now, it's also got this weird thing on the bottom. I guess that's the speaker. Yeah, but this is the Motorola Verizon flip phone. What kind it is, I don't know. But here's another Motorola phone. Now, this one actually works. Verizon Wireless. I'm going to take a look at the battery and see what's up with that there. So while this phone is powering on, I'm going to try and show you guys what's back there. Okay, so this is the lithium-ion battery for the Motorola what? Model V3M. It's the Motorola V3M. This one was made in China. Okay. So the ones that was made in Singapore, that one was probably a better phone. So yeah, this is still a pretty cool phone. It looked a lot like the Motorola Razr, but it is not. Okay. This phone actually works fully. I was still powering it on. Yeah, so we'll get back to that one in a minute. We also have the Sprint C290 telephone. This is also a Motorola. I don't know much about this one, but one of my buddies who passed away, Ted Nero, he was a good friend of mine. He gave me that phone, and it was a very good phone. I mean, it still works. And it does that when it turns off, and it says Verizon Wireless and all that. And this one actually works too. Now, this one has service just like this Nokia here, but it's the same thing. You got to pay for the collect call. So yeah, that's that phone. And it says goodbye and all that. Turn that off. Okay, so one last time. We have the Western Electric telephone. Another Western Electric telephone, trimline telephone. The Nokia 5185i, the Nokia 5120, and the 5160. The Nokia 5160i, the Nokia 918, the Nextel i50SX, the Nokia 5165, the Sprint C290, the Moto V3, the other Moto V3, the Nokia 3390B, the Nextel i36, and the Nextel i50SX, my Dux Unlimited telephone from Dux Unlimited, my other Western Electric rotary dial telephone, my Princess reproduction telephone, my Polaroid Sun 600 light management system camera, and my alarm clock from 1975. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, as this is my first. I am new to YouTube. I just renamed my channel, formerly known as the Music Central Network, to the Vintage Things Network. I believe that's what it is. Or the Vintage Network. I apologize. The Vintage Network. So like, subscribe, comment on the video. I hope you guys enjoyed, and I hope everyone has a wonderful Sunday night. This is the Vintage Network. Tommy Brock here, signing off.